Hey everybody, Devin here, back with February 2017 goals. Every month I post these goals to hold myself accountable to what I promise myself to do every month. This has not been a great month, actually. February was tough. Not sure what happened here. Well, I actually kind of do know what happened, so I'm going to go through it. The benefit to anybody that watches this, I think, is that you get a real perspective on how to keep track of your goals, how to keep consistent, and also how to do objective introspection on how to improve the goals that you don't complete. So I kind of analyze everything by completion rate, and February had a very low completion rate. I think it must have been something like 50% or less. It's probably my worst month in a long time. And I want to just get into it and discuss what happened. So let's go goal by goal. The number one goal was, remember I have Vital 3, so the first 3 goals are the things that I really need to accomplish in that month. And there's usually sub-goals for those goals. CLG progress was the first one in the Vital 3, and I completed only one of the 3 objectives that I had for CLG this month. The one that I did get completed was important, but the other 2 did not happen. I think because I set my expectations too high, and I set those 2 goals for things that were actually out of my control, and that they would not happen necessarily regardless of what I did. Okay, number 2, second Vital 3 is content and branding goals. This is a very important thing for me. This is one of the big things that I try to do every month. This involves my Instagram, my Facebook, and my YouTube. So let's get into it. Upload 15 YouTube videos and Facebook videos. I only completed 8. I did not do the full 15. Post 35 Instagram pieces of content. I completed only 21 posts. And post 20 Facebook posts. That was a huge failure. I only completed 8 posts. And then finally post 2 Instagram stories and Snapchats a day. I did complete that goal. I did that every day. So what happened here? The videos on YouTube and Facebook failed in the last 2 weeks of the month. I wasn't staying consistent with the work that I needed to do, and I was focusing so much on CLG and so much on the things I needed to accomplish there that I didn't allocate the time to work on the videos and to work on the brand. So altogether, just couldn't get it together. But the Instagram, although I didn't reach my goal of 35, 21 is more than I've ever posted. And I think the month of March is already looking to be a lot better for that. So on content and branding goals, I probably just assigned myself too much stuff to do compared to what I had to do with CLG, but it also has to do with how much time that I was spending on CLG, and looking back at that, I probably could have cut a lot of things out of the month of February that I didn't need to do for CLG that did not ultimately move the company forward. And that's practice that I need to constantly evaluate, right? Like everyone needs to constantly evaluate in their life. What are you doing in your life that is actually not advancing your life? And what are things you're doing that are just wasting time? And I found out that a lot of the things that I was doing in CLG were in fact maybe just like going over in meetings and talking about things that didn't need to be talked about. Even at the level that I'm operating at CLG, I'm always trying to think about what makes me effective. And there's definitely a lot of things that I could just completely cut out and they'd have absolutely no impact on the company. And then that said, there's also a lot of things that I would need to do day by day where I can say, okay, what are the things that will push the company forward? And maybe these 3 things that actually need to happen. And by doing those things, they'll actually be more impactful. So I actually believe that I can spend less time on CLG. I mean this by like, instead of working 12 hours a day, I can probably work 10 hours a day, and I can spend that extra 2 on brand, and I can probably get more done if I really just prioritize and focus my time on those things. But the Instagram posts were encouraging. At least I got more done than ever before. And the Instagram stories and Snapchat, I've been very active on that, so I was happy about that. Goal number 3 was a magical moments goal. So this was about having conversations with people to make them feel good once per day and to make an impact on at least one person once per day. And I did complete this goal. It was a great goal, and it really changed the way that I looked at the month of February. So basically it was like making sure that every day I impacted someone positively. And that, like, imagine that if you were gonna have a conversation with someone, you could like have the best conversation. You just imagine that person is just like a long lost friend that you haven't seen in years and you're so happy to see them. And just go into the conversation like imagining that. And that's what I try to do. And I just noticed it's like people just beam at you. It's amazing how much people's attitudes change and how positive they become as a result of like you showing some positivity first. So the Magical Moments goal was awesome. I do plan to implement that in following months. That was just such a super cool goal, super cool idea. I can't remember where I got it from, but it was really successful. So one of the three goals was completed. And after that, there's a few primary goals. So I had a goal to take improv classes. I did complete that goal, and I also read a book on improv, which was really cool. I just wanted to get better at comedy and on-the-fly stuff. I think it's really important for conversation, and it's also really important for business, not just acting. Knowing improv is like a super important aspect of life, just having conversations where you can kind of just be on the fly and be funny and be engaging. So taking those classes were really cool. One thing that I wanted to do that I did not complete was actually take an improv class. So I looked around for an improv class in Los Angeles, and I couldn't find one. They're scheduled at certain times. So I had signed up for one that is actually scheduled like a few months out, and then I'll complete that goal then. But I couldn't complete it this month. Writing more, so write 4 articles, 1 per week. I did not write a single one. It sucks too because I think one of my best mediums is writing. But the problem I'm having is I'm not really sure where to post it. I don't know if I should post it on Medium. I don't know if I should post it on a Facebook blog. I really have no idea where I should post it. I'm kind of still battling with that. Fasting. So complete 15 days of 8-hour eating between the hours of 12 to 8 p.m. only. I did complete that goal, and it was amazing. The results of intermittent fasting is I'm down 21 pounds from where I was before, and I feel incredible every day. Also complete a 2-day fast by February 28th. I did complete that goal. I actually went for a 4-day fast. And let me tell you, it was truly life-changing. It was actually life-changing. It was actually life-changing. Like, out of all the things I say, this is one of the things that really stuck with me to this day. And I'll give you an example of why. So I had a couple days ago, I went to Seattle and I did an all-day thing. I was at a conference all day. And I couldn't eat because when you're in a conference all day, you get in at 7, there's no breaks, and pretty much I just didn't eat the entire day. But I was fine with it because of this 4-day fast. I knew that I didn't need to draw energy from food. And once you realize that you're not dependent on eating every 3 to 4 hours, that you can actually fast, it's really very freeing because you don't worry about like setting up your whole day around when you're going to eat. You know, I don't really care if I go 12 to 14 to 16 hours or 48 hours without eating. I know I can get over it. I know it's not going to be that bad. And I'm really excited to do a fast in March. This is going to be a goal that I set for my March goals for sure. It's super exciting to actually do this. And I'm going to make a separate video just on how effective fasting is because it's something that everybody should try. And there's a couple of methods that I do to make it really painless. Meditation. A daily meditation practice of 10 minutes minimum. I only completed half of those days, 15 days out of the 30, 28 I guess. It's a little bit tough though because I do meditate in yoga, and yoga is kind of a moving meditation, so if you count that, then I did do it every day, but I'd still say that's not a completed goal. Better speech development. This is an ongoing goal that I have every month. It means that I'm working on pausing, I'm working on tension in my speech, humor, improv, speaking ties into that improv goal. I'm doing better at that. I would say that I completed my goals for what I wanted to accomplish on that this month. It went quite well, actually, and I think that my speech is getting better. There's a lot less uhs and ums, you know, like. There's better pausing, there's more emphasis. It's becoming more natural, especially in front of a camera, and it's just something that I just need to hammer on, read books on, and keep practicing. Reading. Read 1 hour at least 15 days. Finish Tools of Titans and Steal the Show. I did not complete either of these books. Instead, I read 2 separate books, and I read about 250 pages, which is kind of equivalent of a book of Tools of Titans. It's a 600-page book, and it is every page you have to take notes on. So it is a Bible of self-improvement. It's taking me a lot longer to read it, so I'm resetting my goals for March with some new reading goals, and so far I've been reading an hour a day in that. Complete one photo shoot for Instagram. Do a lifestyle photo shoot with a shot list for Instagram. I did complete this goal. Ricky from CLG was nice enough to help me with that. Super awesome to get him involved, and now I've got some really good images for Instagram. going forward into March. So I'm excited to do more posts on that. One of the big reasons that I didn't actually complete my Instagram posts was because I didn't actually have enough content at some point. I didn't have any more images. I just ran out. So I'm going to be doing a photo shoot every month so that I can solve that problem. All right, and then sleep schedule. Be in bed by 10:30 every day and have at least 7.5 hours of sleep. I definitely did not complete this goal. I was in bed by around 10:30 to 11, but oftentimes only got 4 to 5 hours of sleep because I was so busy with CLG that much of the time I just didn't get the opportunity to sleep, either by having a very early morning or knowing there was things that I had to work on. Alternatively, I had some days where meetings went to 1 or 2 a.m., and I then got up on time at 6 or 7 a.m. to go to morning yoga. That was really tough, and I think just planning my time better and being more aware of my scheduling, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this video, will make that a lot better. Eating. So eating lunch at 12 to 1 p.m., never eating after 8 p.m., no snacks or overeating past 8 p.m. I did complete this goal, going back to intermittent fasting. Really happy about that goal. Exercise, staying consistent and on point with a workout schedule and goals. For me, that means exercising 6 days a week in intensity, hot yoga, jiu-jitsu, walking, and running, and weightlifting. I completed all of my exercise goals for this month. It's probably my biggest accomplishment for February. I did a lot of lifting. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I did a ton of yoga, at least 5 days a week, and I ran at least twice a week, and I'm seeing the physical benefits of that. I'm feeling that every day. It's keeping me energetic. I don't get tired. It's really great overall. It's a cumulative benefit, guys. Like, you see that benefit over months and years. You start to feel better and better and better. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that occurs over a long period of time where you start to actually feel really good. And now that I've been like 8 months into yoga, I'm actually starting to really feel good about it. And I'm starting to just get into it, and like, I'm flexible, I'm bouncy, I'm just more energetic. I have, there's so many benefits. My skin is better. It's helped my speech. It's helped my calmness, my ability to respond to things, to put out fires. It's super good. Lastly, supplements. BCAAs, CLA, L-carnitine, creatine, and magnesium at proper dosages every day. I did not complete this goal. I only stayed consistent with my BCAAs and CLAs. I do need to complete this goal. There's really no excuse for it. It'd probably increase my overall health by another 10%, which is pretty significant considering how great I feel. So what's the overview? Well, I ended up half completing a bunch of goals, and I probably only really totally completed 40 to 50% of my goals compared to the 80 to 85% that I completed in January. So what the hell happened? Well, I really had to look at it, and I figured out that for me, there's 3 main things I need to change in the month of March. Number 1 is I really need to have an effective planning schedule, by which I mean I need to spend at least 30 minutes a day on the previous day planning out the most impactful activities that I need to do in the following day. So at 8:30 at night, every single night, I need to plan what I'm going to do that morning, and more importantly, I need to put a time on it. So I need to say from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm going to be doing this. And it needs to be as concise and clear as possible. A lot of the time, what would happen when I was at CLG was I would end up being roped into putting out fires and having to handle problems and go into meetings and stuff like that, rather than thinking of systems that I could create to solve those problems permanently and save everybody time. We would hash it out for hours on end with my staff. And I figured out I can't do that. I need to be on offense. I need to be sitting there thinking in the mornings about what those problems are and how to address them, and addressing project emails going forward on the offense to solve those problems and prevent them. So instead of like discussing a big issue with like getting a player overseas where we need to submit some forms for them to legally be there, can we create a system where that happens every time and I can eliminate that discussion and thus save myself that 10 minutes of that day? And if I keep doing that stuff, I think I'll eventually narrow down a lot of the problems that are causing so much of my time. I also decided to start doing morning mantras. So I'm going to tell myself verbally, I'm actually going to speak out loud and give myself permission to work hard and to focus on things that matter and create meaningful results. I've already started doing this every day in March, and it's had pretty enormous benefits. it keeps me on track and it keeps me committed. And there's just something about verbally committing to yourself. I commit to a hell yes or no attitude. I won't view social media. I'm not going to live my life with regret. I know I'm going to die. I know I'm going to be old, and I'm going to look back at this and I'm going to say, all that time that I wasted, what the hell was it useful for? I will say those things verbally to me when I wake up in the morning, and it's been a pretty big change to get that stuff just out there. And then I've also established a ritual in the morning. So I want to really engage my emotions in the mornings and get super excited about life, get really amped about being alive in the beginning of the day. So I will put on some heavy metal or rock music right when I wake up, and I will jump up and down. I'll get pumped. I get grateful, really excited to be alive. I think about all the things in my life that I have that make me so lucky, and then I dedicate 2 or 3 minutes to just looking over my goals for that month on paper, looking at my goals physically, reading them out loud, and understanding them. And then I put those down and I just get right to work. And then if it's a yoga class, then I go to that maybe an hour or two later, and I find out that I'm still like pumped after I get back from that. So I definitely want to improve my rituals. And again, this video is actually being filmed on the 3rd day of March, and I've already noticed some huge improvements by doing those rituals. So I guess the thing about this video, it kind of sucks, honestly. It's pretty embarrassing for me to come on here and be like, yeah, I completed 50% of my goals. That's part of the journey. I guess it's just to show you guys, like, I'm not infallible. I'm, CEO of a company or whatever, doesn't always get things right. And you don't need to be right all the time to be successful. In fact, you're not going to be right even half the time, most of the time. But if you can actually introspectively go back and analyze why those things happened, and then start putting things in place to improve them, then quickly you can start to turn around your circumstances. And while I'm very disappointed in February, I'm excited about the things I'm going to implement in March to make it better. So those are my February goals, and that's my February goal review. I hope that you gained some value out of this episode. If you did, please leave a comment below if you have goals or you're pursuing them, or just your general thoughts on these videos. I read every comment, I respond to most of them, and I just really appreciate your attention. Thanks so much for watching, and looking forward to seeing you again very soon.